origin. But upon reflection, one clue is my mother's addiction to Country Life magazine, which I subsequently adopted when, from an early age, I started to flick through her discarded copies. Like me, my mother was an avid Jane Austen fan, and she had dreamed of living in a house in the English countryside. However, upon their arrival from the Caribbean, my parents' reality was a series of bedsits and lettings, followed by a slow but steady move up the property ladder, culminating in a far more modest than Pemberley-esque Edwardian house in a South London suburb. For my mother, it was the house where her dreams of acquiring her own version of an English home had finally been fulfilled, and by realizing those dreams, my mother provided the basis for my own romantic leanings towards English country houses and interiors that were more traditionally flavoured than the modern preferences of my contemporaries. Despite not having come from a background where family heirlooms were passed down, I did inherit a make-do mentality. So it is perhaps unsurprising that my current decorating tastes have developed into a deep love of vintage and thrift, as well as artisan and antique. Gathered and collected, but always loved, has pretty much summed up my interior style for my entire life, and it is a mantra that I've since applied to Hill House. Regardless of age, I have always been drawn to pieces that inspire a sense of history, whether that's in the authenticity of their heritage or simply in the classic shape of their design. It's not that I do not like or own things that are new, but rather that even the new things must feel as though they could have been settled into their current position for years. These are the details that make me happy, and as my mother taught me, a happy home is everything. Such rose-tinted dreams are all well and good when romanticising life from afar in London, but there's a distinct sense of finality on the day you pull your city front door closed for the last time and embark on what many saw as sticking a pin into a map of the English countryside and hoping for the best. But change was actually the result of much introspection and the realization that I possessed a total inability to separate work from home life. My husband and I made the decision to move to where our theoretical pin landed in a bid for our own children to live out the quiet country life that I had secretly desired since childhood. When people exclaimed at the bravery of departing from the city in which I had been born and raised, I would chuckle. After all, my parents' journey had been a real leap of faith. Making a move 100 miles up the road to Norfolk, the county I now live in, hardly seemed a feat of great endurance. Ironically, even though those miles may be short in comparison to a journey across an ocean, for a fashion-loving girl used to the busyness of metropolitan living, the move to the wide-open spaces of Norfolk was culturally akin to moving from Earth to Mars. And despite the pleasing architecture of Hill House and the grand interior and garden landscaping ideas that lived within the vision board of my mind, the reality of having no excess budget after the purchase of the house soon hit. It became apparent that I needed to come up with some practical solutions and creative ideas to fill the empty rooms in the house and turn these spaces into something welcoming. As the children settled into school and my husband adjusted to his new commute, I was left to begin the challenge of creating the comfortable and happy family home that I knew it could be, on a threadbare budget. Thankfully, the gathered, collected and time-worn underdogs of the interiors world are the things that epitomize my interior style. Local auction houses, where wooden dining chairs could be found for $5 apiece, quickly became my friend. eBay, car boot sales, old curiosity shops, vintage emporiums and antiques markets soon became my natural hunting grounds. Repainting, restoring and recovering furniture that had already lived a life became my absolute passion. However, while my core aesthetic may be based on vintage, for me it really is all about the mix. The beauty and the eclecticism of curating your own personal